Go ahead and swing it forward like this.
So you bend the knees.
Yeah, you bend the knees and keeping the back straight.
So you think about going up and down.
Right. Don't be going forward like this.
Right.
You're kind of going up and down and keeping good posture.
This is not what a swing is supposed to look like. Grüezi miteinander, Gregory from Lebe Stock here. Bob and Brad is a famous physiotherapist YouTube channel. They have about 3 million subscribers and they're very cool dudes. They've done some stuff with the kettlebell, so let's check it out.
Okay, remember when you were young? and I remember I'd play basketball. We'd go out to the court and I'd take a shot. Okay, let's go.
Let's get ready.
Yeah, now I stretch for 20 minutes before I even move. Get out of bed in the morning.
And that's something that happens, actually what you see in the gym is people just step on the treadmill or they don't warm up at all. Now, I believe there's 2 segments of warming up. First one is the mobility part, the stretching part where you lose some muscles up, get those synovial fluids flowing. And then the second thing is for your heart rate. Maybe do jumping jacks or get on the treadmill or whatever.
All right, the first one is just a good overall squat. And these are good for this.
Yeah.
Now, I've seen people grab two different ways. They can grab it, what they call the goblet squat, so it looks like they're holding a goblet.
Yeah.
Or they can grab it like this, holding onto the horns, like that. Either way is fine.
Okay.
Or you grab it on the kettlebell. That's how we do it. We grab the kettlebell, then the handle points down. You actually use your strong chest muscles to engage to grab the kettlebell, which leaves you with a lot of power, so you can focus on your legs more. If you grab it on the horns or up down, then you use your biceps as stabilizers, which can become very quickly fatigued when you work with the legs, so then you have to put the kettlebell down, not because you work your legs, but because your arms are tired.
You're going to go ahead and just do squats. And now with these, as always, we're trying to not allow the knee to go past the front of the foot.
Here,
allow
me, Bob.
Yeah, why don't you go ahead and show, Brad.
Biomechanics.
So you really got to keep your back straight. And I'm trying not to do this.
Now, there's a good video about this topic. If they would see knees over toes guy, they would go nuts. But there's a great video about the topic from Squat University. In a nutshell, your knees may go over your toes. A physiotherapist years ago came up with the idea that you don't want to go over your toes because most people, like he did, we're going to take a look at it. You see how he engages with the squat? The guy in the green shirt? See that? He engages with knees first and the hips don't move. That's what a lot of people do when they start squatting. So this physiotherapist came up with the idea, don't put your knees over your toes, because you have to engage with the hips first when you go into a squat. Hips first, and then the knees follow and the rest of the body follows. Now what he does in that position is he puts a lot of stress on his lower back if he doesn't allow his knees to move forward. That's one aspect. And another thing that may happen if he reaches full squat depth is then the back will maybe start rounding. So at a certain level, when you go down and you engage from the hips properly and your knees are safe, then your knees will move past the toes, and that's totally fine. If you don't experience any pain, if you follow the form correctly and your posture's safe, then you don't have to worry about it.
Don't make any fun of I'm not squatting that low.
Right.
And I don't want to squat that low. I'm still getting a workout.
You can still laugh at it, though. He won't know.
A very good point for me to notice, this is not about laughing at these two guys. I think what they do is solid with their physiotherapist work. In this video, I will disagree with some stuff that they do. He mentioned about the aspect of not going to full squat depth. This is preference. If you don't want to do it, you don't have to do it. But you can if you have the proper mechanics, if your body allows it, and you follow the proper form. And of course, you will also get some more activation of your muscle if you go more into a deep squat or you work more range of motion, more muscle activation. That's the benefits of doing full range of motion squats. But hey, you don't have to if you don't want to.
Again, look at that back posture. You did a nice job. I want to get to the back side of you, Bob, though. Here, let me use this so we got some contrast. He's maintaining a nice back.
When you put the stick on your back, you want to connect with the 3 movable parts of your spine, which is the lumbar part, the thoracic part, and the cervical part. All right, neck, chest, and lower back. Now, as you can see, he engages most of the movement as well from the hips. You see the knees, the knees move first, and then the hips come in. So his hips he should put his hips out way way more on the backside. So that would be a proper form. And so because he doesn't allow his knees to travel forward and he doesn't push his hips back, he starts overarching the lower back. And that's the reason why the stick doesn't connect with the thoracic part of his spine. And he has the neck upright instead of moving it towards forward. So the stick should always have connection with all these 3 points.
Back, and actually he's got a little arch in his back, which is nice to see.
You protect your back when you work with your glutes, with the hips properly, when you work with your abdominals. This is how you protect your spine the best way possible.
Push up and then do a pull up.
All right.
Push up, then a pull up.
Okay. Push up and roll. Yeah.
Then a pull up.
It's totally fine, but the surface that they're on, it make sure you have stable surface and it's not a bench that you can fall off. Okay? Very important for safety reasons. The classic, let's check out the swing.
So basically you're gonna grab on, palms down, and you're really good posture. I don't want to hit your breath.
Yeah.
All right, and then you're just gonna go ahead and swing it forward like this.
So you bend the knees.
Yeah, you bend the knees and keeping the back straight.
So you think about going up and down.
Right. Don't be going forward like this.
Right.
You're kind of going up and down and keeping good posture.
This is not what a swing is supposed to look like. He says it's up and down and not back and forth. Actually, this is what it's supposed to look like. See that? That's what a swing is supposed to look like because it's a hinge motion. Now what they do is a squat swing variant, where they engage with most of their knees or their quads. See this? And
Posture. What I
the
found
hip
out
is not engaging at all.
You're really working the hamstrings really well.
Yeah.
It was one of the
What he says now is good
exercises that
stuff.
worked the hamstrings the best, believe it or not. Okay. And I also like the fact that you're working the whole, what they call posterior chain. Back,
Yep.
buttock, and hamstrings
Sure.
Yeah.
all together at the same time.
Right.
Yeah.
That's a really functional thing that you really want with athletics. A lot of times you get injuries is because the hamstrings are kicking in too much and they aren't kicking it in along with the butt and the back at the same time.
For example, doing hamstring curls on a machine, that's
Right.
all it works is, and it doesn't work the whole chain
Yeah.
together.
You isolate
So
the
then
muscle.
when the weekend athlete goes out and plays softball and goes sprinting to first base, and that hamstring is the one that's taking all the burden instead of the buttock and the back too.
Yep.
That's where you tear that hamstring.
All right, and that's where injuries happen because most of the brunt of the weight is focused on one muscle only because the glutes and the back is not working properly together. So that's why I think it's so important to work the full body as a unit, and that's what kettlebells do if you do them properly and use them properly. And they call it functional. I would just say is using the body the way you're supposed to use it as a full unit. Even if it's just a part, the posterior chain is just a part of the body, you use it as a full unit in harmony with each other.
And
you see?
they got
This
so
is
I'm going to put a link.
they're talking to each other and he's like swinging up and down. You see? So, and you see the motion that he does, it's the same with the squat. He engages with the knees first and the hips don't do anything. So he transfers that habitual movement that he learned from the squat. He transfers it into the swing as well. So we could say if you have common mistakes in one movement, then you got to get rid of those mistakes because they will transfer into other movements as well. As you can see, no hinging, it's knees only. And like I always say, don't have it in front of you like this. Put the kettlebell down, stand in the triangle, and then start with a good swing so you don't waste your first rep.
This is called the lunge with the lawnmower pull. This is a good
Lawnmower
functional
pull?
one too. So you're going to lunge, go dip down, and then pull up like this.
Yeah.
Lunge, dip down, pull up.
Now, first of all, I'm the basics guy, so I'll say you either do a lunge or you do a row. You know, he calls it lawnmower pull. It's just, it's a row that you want to do. Now, yes, he does it like this, then the most focus is on your biceps. Because if you go into a lunge, you want to make sure that your knees are 90 degrees angle and your hips are 90 degrees angle. In his case, his back leans forward, so his hip is not in that 90 degree angle. And if you pull weights up from that position, then you only work your biceps. So that means you can only use very light weight. Because if you want to do a row, then your upper body has to lean forward, which is a bad combination with the lunge, because in the lunge, the upper body has to stand straight. You see, that's why sometimes if the lunge is a basic, the row is a basic. Yet people think if you combine them all together and maybe mix them in with some jumping at the end or whatever, then and it's a functional exercise and it works best. It doesn't mean that when you combine the basics in one exercise that it's better, more suitable, or that it'll get you any benefits or secrets that the basics on their own won't deliver. Call it.
I can do it.
Big, strong.
And you see how it pulls it up? Always tricky when you pull up the kettlebell like this. Make sure you're safe, embryo position, pull it up, no matter how heavy the weight is. Because we have now seen, if you have a habitual movement pattern ingrained in your body, then you will do this movement pattern every time you move or every time you engage in that particular exercise. So if you learn that you can pull up the kettlebell like this when you're laying on the floor and put your shoulder in a tricky position, then you will do it with light weight, which won't cause a lot of damage, or maybe over time, and you'll do it with heavy weights as well, and boom, one move only, that's enough, and you'll hurt yourself. So make sure you work with those habitual movements and build the right patterns, no matter if you're working with light or heavy weights.
We want to do
A chest press.
okay.
All right?
And obviously, again, if you had two of them, you could do two of them.
Yeah.
If you
No, the pressing isn't-
have the one, you can just work the one.
It's not bad. We always press with the proper hand insertion.
Where you just with your elbow
Oh,
locked,
sure.
you can work that
I wouldn't.
subscapular muscle.
Now, you don't have to work stuff like this. Keep your shoulders packed. If you want to work stability in your shoulder, then do a Turkish get up. Don't do moving stuff like this, because this reinforces again that you can unlock your shoulder when you have the kettlebell in a top fixation, no matter if you're standing or if you're laying on the floor. Once the kettlebell's up there, keep your shoulder packed and safe.
You should go up like this and also do a tricep, then go up and then go back.
Sure. I like to hold my tricep there just so I maintain stability
No.
and the elbow doesn't move.
If you do it wrong, from that position going down, and then maybe the kettlebell slips, or you pull your head back, that's dangerous. Don't do it. That's one thing. If you want to isolate your body, kettlebells are not made to isolate your body. Can you do it? Yes. Is it the best value? Probably not. The second thing that I want to say is, if you are pressing a weight that challenges your chest is a big muscle, then you probably use a heavier weight. And if you come up with the idea that once you use a heavier weight, now I'm just engaging the tricep, which is a way smaller muscle that doesn't have enough power, as much power as your chest, then boom, kettlebell drops and you may hurt yourself. You can't combine everything together because some movements work bigger muscles. And then when you think, okay, I'm isolated in that way now with the triceps, then you always probably have to use light weight. So that means your chest probably doesn't feel anything.
Then there's a little variation here. Instead of doing the kettlebell swing with two arms, you do it with one arm.
Okay.
And the idea behind that is you're going to get a little more shoulder flexion here. You're working on some of that shoulder flexion strengthening. And I can do it this way too, palm down.
So
And then the kettlebell drops.
Or you can do it
Emphasizing
thumb up.
not this, but
No, you have to
down,
emphasize the hinge, guys. You have to emphasize the hinge. So upper body moves forward, hips goes back. Guys, man. No, and he says, yes, it's shoulder flexion. You know what this is? It's a shoulder raise with a kettlebell. This is not a one-arm swing. No hip engagement, using your arms only. And this reinforces the idea that you use your arms, which may transfer, like we mentioned now, it may transfer in other exercises as well. This is not a one-arm swing, guys.
I don't like to do full squats on these all the way to the floor because to me it's hard to keep my good posture all the way through.
yeah.
So I just go halfway down and then go to the shoulder.
It's a hang
And
clean.
if you want, you can go up.
And a press.
Now, I worry a
clean
little bit
press,
about if
right?
you have shoulder problems or if you have impingement problems, I wouldn't do that one. And if it even starts to cause that, I wouldn't do it.
right. If you're having any
So-
pain at all in the shoulder.
Of course, if you have any pain, you don't do it. But you know they have both a limp wrist. It's not safe. No proper hand insertion. And if you press the kettlebell, that's one of the good things about pressing a kettlebell. If you always point your thumbs back, you put your shoulder in an external rotation, and that's safe. No impingement at all happens because then your shoulder has enough space to move. Now, of course, if you already have problems with the shoulder, you have to be careful. Yet, you know, he calls it a half squat. That's a clean and press or hand clean and press. As you know, it's not about down talking. It's about educational purposes. Now, what I see is they have a lot of experience, they have a lot of knowledge in the physiotherapist realm, rehabbing people. Now, does it mean that they're good trainers or good coaches with kettlebells? No. It's just the same in my case. I know kettlebells, I know how to handle them, I know how to teach them. Does that make me a good physiotherapist? No. And sometimes I see this cross happening. Physiotherapists think that they're good trainers, and yet they fail. or trainers who think they're good physiotherapists and they fail. It's two different professions, and I believe you have to stick to your horses and say, okay, that's my area, and if it goes outside, if it's outside my scope of practice, I'll refer you to someone. And while I'm sure that these guys have a lot of knowledge, a lot of expertise in their field, and we can learn a lot from them when it comes to kettlebells, these are not the experts or the guys that you want to go to. So thank you for watching. If you enjoyed the video, like it, consider subscribing if you're looking for more kettlebell content. And if you're looking for a kettlebell program that takes you from a beginner to a more advanced level in the course of about 3 months, and you want to combine it with some easy to follow nutrition coaching, because maybe you want to lose weight or get in shape, then check out 90 Days of Kettlebells. You find the link in the description. 14-day free trial included.